lesson is on the nature of ethics, moral philosophy, and the relation between religion and ethics. The term ethics corresponds to Greek word ethika. Ethika is derived from the word ethos, meaning character, customs, usage, and habits. Ethics has been described as a moral philosophy. The word moral comes from Latin word mores, which signifies customs or habits. Customs are not merely habitual ways of acting, they are also ways of approved by the group. Thus, literally, ethics means the science of customs and habits of man. It is the science of habitual conduct of man. Habits are expressions of settled dispositions of the will or character. Character is the inner counterpart of conduct, which is its outer expression. Conduct is exponent of character. The character of man finds its expression in and through his conduct. The conduct of a man springs out of and expresses his character and is good and bad according to his character, good and bad. Conduct is mirror of character. Hence, ethics may be also defined as science of character as expressing itself in right or wrong conduct or action. Conduct is a collective name given for voluntary action of human beings. A voluntary action is a willed action, which a man could have done differently if he had chosen so. Ethics therefore deals with the human actions and is confined to study of conduct of human beings in living societies. Right or wrong? Right and wrong is when we pass moral judgments on the actions of man. We generally use the terms right and wrong. Ethics has been defined as science of rightness and wrongness of conduct, but the terms right and wrong requires a little explanation. When we judge an action to be right, we may reasonably ask what make an action right. The word right is derived from Latin rectus, which means straight or according to rule. When an action is said to be right, it means that it conforms a rule of law. The term wrong is related to word wrong, which means twisted, i.e., not according to rule. Rightness and wrongness on action consists in its conformity with the rule or not. Right action means that which in which conformity with the moral law. Wrong action, on the other hand, is an action which does not conform to moral law. It is thus evident the notion of right and wrong have special reference to rule or law. The word right and wrong are used actions that are in some way fitting to their circumstances. The fittingness of a right action often appears to consist in its conformity to some rule. It is with reference to the moral law that an action is judged by to be right or wrong. Every law presupposes an end which is realized by it. The end that is realized by moral law is called good. Therefore, right action is what subserves the supreme end of life or highest good, and wrong action is what is opposed to this end. The notion of right is the subordinate to good. An action is right if it means to the end. Good and bad. There are several terms commonly used in judging human actions by ethical standards. We say that an action is right or wrong, good or bad, moral or immoral. Of these terms, good and bad are most common, but they are also most troublesome. They are used ambiguously in common speech. The term good is connected with German gut. A thing is good when it is valuable for some end. When we speak of one's conduct is good, we mean that it is serviceable for an end ideal we have in view. The term good is also used to signify not something which is a means to an end, but something which is itself an end. The summum bonum or supreme good means supreme end we aim. When we say that ethics is concerned with the righteousness or goodness of human conduct, we mean that it is concerned with the consideration of serviceableness of our conduct for some end or ideal which we aim at, and with rules and general principles by which our conduct should be directed to, that this end may be attained. Before we can do this, we must have an understanding of nature of end itself. There are many ends to which our actions may be directed. Example, building a house, passing the examination and so on. But the ethics is the study of conduct as a whole. We are concerned with no special ends, but the supreme or ultimate end to which our lives are directed. This end is commonly referred to as a summum bonum or supreme good. A doubt may, however, arise as to the existence of any such supreme end in human life. Men aim at various things. Some desire wealth, some independence, some fame, others power, and so on. But a little consideration will show that many of these ends cannot be regarded as ultimate. These objects, viz., wealth, fame, etc., are not regarded as ultimate ends by those who pursue them, but are desired for the sake of something else. The supreme good, which is intrinsically good, is ultimate end to which all other relative goods are subordinate. Ethics is the science of the highest good. The notion of right and wrong, good or bad, are meaningless without any reference to the idea of ultimate end or highest good. Our actions are right if they are conducive to highest good. Thus, ethics, sometimes defined as an inquiry to nature of ultimate end of human action, the highest good of man, the means of attaining it. There is some ideal in life. There is some standard of judgment by reference to which we are able to say that one form of conduct is better than another. This ideal is inherent in human life. Different thinkers have laid down different moral ideals. According to some, the moral ideal is a law. To some others, it is pleasure and happiness. To some, it is duty for duty's sake. And to some others, it is perfection and self realization. The business of ethics is to explain these moral ideals to determine which one is best and acceptable. That is why sometimes ethics is referred as the science or general study of ideal involved in human life. William Lilly defined ethics as the normative science of conduct of human beings living in societies. This definition says firstly that ethics is a science, i.e., it gives systematic knowledge about a particular set of related events or objects. Secondly, ethics is a normative science because it does not merely describe standards by which we judge, it is also concerned with the validity of both these standards. Thirdly, ethics deals with human conduct. The conduct is a collective name for voluntary actions. A voluntary action is willed action, which a man could have done differently if he had so chosen. Ethics therefore deals with human actions and not with actions of lower animals. Ethics is confined to the study of conduct of human beings living in societies. If it were not for a social background, a human being would not be a real human being capable of right and wrong actions. Is ethics a practical science? A science teaches us to know. A practical science, on the other hand, teaches us to know how to do. A practical science lays down certain rules by which we may apply our theoretical knowledge in practice, achieve certain end. It therefore lies midway between science and art. Medical science is practical science because it does not endeavor determine the ideal of health, but points to the means by which one may be healthy. But ethics cannot, in this sense, be regarded as practical science. There are thinkers who hold ethics is not only a normative science, it may also be described as practical science. Normative science and practical science are not same things. Normative science seeks to determine and explain a norm or ideal or standard, but it does not lay down rules means for attainment of ideal. Aesthetics is a normative science. It is concerned with the ideal of beauty, but it does not concern itself with the inquiry how beauty is produced. Similarly, ethics deals with the ideal of rightness or goodness. It is not directly concerned with the means by which ideal may be realized. The term practical as applied to ethics has been objected by McKenzie. He says that ethics, though a normative science, is not to be regarded as a practical science. Ethics gives us the knowledge of guiding principles of life, but does not tell how to apply them. Ethics is concerned with understanding nature of ideal, but it should not hope to formulate rule for attainment. The study of ethics may not be necessarily make the reader honest. Mackenzie has drawn distinction between normative and practical sciences. A normative science, according to him, concerned with some definite end, ideal or standard, while a practical science seeks to determine means for its attainment. A practical science deals with the practical rules, regulative principle, help of which ideal may be attained. Ethics deals with the supreme end of life. It is concerned with the ideal form of human conduct, character and life, and is not concerned with the means and rules or practical principles. But a closer examination will show that there is no sharp line of demarcation between a normative science and a practical science. A normative science cannot explain the ideal without indicating the means for its realization, and a practical science also cannot explain the means without reference to the end to which they are means. Mackenzie himself is constrained to admit this when he says that though we should not insist that it is task of ethics to furnish us a copy of book heading for guidance of life, we should insist it is the task of ethics to furnish us with practical principle. It is a task of ethics to bring out the nature of highest good and indicate general nature of means by which this good to be attained. In spite of these remarks, it is better to call ethics a normative science, not a practical science. As a normative science, it seeks to determine the nature of ideal, but the knowledge of ideal, the ethic and the means for its attainment are not the same thing. But the study of ethics has bearing on our moral life. It influences our practice. It is also true ethics stands nearer to our everyday life. Life than does, for instance, astronomy, physiology, but on this ground alone, ethics should not be called as practical science. Is ethics an art of conduct? The question may be asked, is ethics an art? Can it be called art of conduct? According to some writers, ethics is both science and an art. A distinction is commonly made between science and art in the following way. A science is concerned with knowledge while art is concerned with practice. The science teaches us to know while an art teaches us to do. But this distinction does not absolute. Science and art are generally go together. Mackenzie has, however, objected to this callings of art as conduct. There is no branch of knowledge which can teach us art of moral life. Even if it teaches us more rules of moral conduct, precepts, it cannot teach us how to realize them in practice. Even when we know the moral precepts, we may not be able to realize them due to our lack of strength of character and will. Ethics determines the nature of right and wrong with reference to supreme good, but it does not teach us art of living a moral life. Ethics, therefore, is neither practical science nor art of conduct. The aim of art is to produce useful objects. The object of art is to bring forth definite objects. In this sense, ethics cannot be called an art of conduct. The essence of conduct lies in attitude of will, nor in the possession of particular kind of skill. In laying down distinction between ethics and art, Mackenzie maintains virtue exists only in activity. A good painter is one who can paint beautifully, but a good man is one who does act rightly. Capacity to do good things does not make a man good or virtuous. A truthful man is not one who can speak the truth, but the one who habitually speaks the truth. Goodness is not a capacity or potentiality, but an activity. The essence of virtue lies in will. The morality of action depends upon inner motive or intention rather than upon outer consequences. It's a beggar. If a beggar comes to me and I cannot do anything help him because I have no money, Yet if my heart goes out in sympathy to beggar, and if I have the will to help him, then my attitude of will is right. When there is no scope for overt action, the right attitude of will constitutes of morality. Art aims the work achieved, while moral judgment is intimately connected with the purity of motives and intention. William Lilly, however, maintains that there are actually resemblances between good conduct of such as fine arts, painting, music. We can learn to do what is right, artists learn to paint. Understand the ethics principle in the practice of goodness, just as an understanding of nature of beauty may be help the painter in his art. Good conduct resembles fine arts in producing things which has itself beauty or worthiness. A noble action arouses us the same type of admiration as that caused by a beautiful picture or a good poem. Whether we decide to call the living of good life an art or not, it cannot be denied that to live rightly has some resemblance to arts and some differences from them. To call ethics an art of conduct is ignoring the difference between two. For this reason, Mekanji is not in favor of regarding ethics as an art of conduct. Is ethics a science or a part of philosophy? A science deals with a particular department of phenomena. It does not deal with whole universe. Science is concerned with consideration of only limited portion of our experience, but ethics deals with the whole of our experience from one particular point of view, viz. From the point of view of pursuit of ends or ideals. Mekanji says that if by the science understand the study of some limited department of human experience, then ethics is not a science at all. It is rather a part of philosophy, i.e. part of study of experience as a whole, because it considers the experience of life from point of view will be the activity. Though ethics does not consider man as knowing or enjoying, yet it considers man's whole activity. In this sense, it may be regarded only part of philosophy. It is on this ground some writers prefer to describe ethics as moral philosophy or ethical philosophy rather than science of ethics. It is the business of philosophy, not of science, to deal with the experience as a whole. But ethics should be treated as a normative science rather than part of philosophy. Every science deals with the particular department of phenomena. Ethics also deals with the only moral phenomena as distinguished from the kinds of phenomena. Ethics observes, classifies, and explains moral phenomena from the point of view of a moral ideal. It distinguishes moral judgment from logical, aesthetic judgments and reduces them into system. Thus, the method of ethics is scientific. Ethics aims at determining the nature of highest good or summum bonum of human beings. There are three parts of universe: God, world, and man. Ethics seeks to determine what is human good, while philosophy is concerned with the cosmic good and deals with all three parts: God, world, and man. Thus, ethics, not strictly speaking, a part of metaphysics or philosophy, but ethics as a normative science closely approaches philosophy, determining the nature of highest good of man. Ethics has to be transcend observation, dead to realm of philosophy. Uh, the question of validity of the moral ideal is intimately related to nature of ultimate reality, but the metaphysical problems involved in ethical investigations are only assumptions taken for granted. Ethics does not inquire into their ultimate nature or validity. Ethics should not be treated as part of philosophy. Ethics should be regarded as normative science only. In a science, ethics a natural science? A natural science is concerned with the analysis of what exists or occurs. A natural science observes the phenomena accurately. It distinguishes the different kinds of phenomena and classifies them according to their resemblances, differences. A natural science not only observes accurately and classifies but also explains phenomena. Explanation of phenomena consists in finding out cause. A phenomena is to be explained if it is shown to be necessity of following form, sum of conditions which the science takes into account. Ethics is not explained in similar sense. Herbert Spencer and others maintain ethics is a natural science. According to Spencer, ethics seeks to explain moral phenomena by referring them to known conditions of individual and the social life. But this view is wrong. Ethics is a science of good. It is not natural science. Ethics is not concerned with the facts. It is a normative science. Natural science seeks to explain phenomena under investigation with reference to antecedent phenomena within the particular system. Ethics as a normative science seeks to explain or evaluate moral phenomena with reference to the ideal of highest good. The ideal transcends the actual fact. Secondly, ethics deals with moral judgments consciously passed by man upon himself and others. Ethics rests upon the assumption that man is not merely part of nature but is conscious of being a part. Thus, attempts to treat science of conduct merely branch of material science is bound to fail. Man is not only conscious, he is self-conscious. The explanation in the field of ethics cannot be in terms of law that are applicable in field of physical sciences. Another distinction is important. Explanation involved in the other natural sciences are relative. No fact or phenomena is fully explained till its relations to all the world are clearly known or defined. But all the world is not subject matter of any particular sciences. Ethics has to do with the moral judgments. These moral judgments are judgments of value, the value of conduct of character. The moral judgments are judgments of absolute value. Conduct is good or bad, not according to what we choose to regard a certain end desirable or not, but absolutely high without relation to our individual views of what is desirable or not desirable in particular circumstances. Ethics should not therefore be described as a natural science.